while my Revit is starting, I'm going to take attendance. Like any other Revit objects, floors are also objects themselves, so they're type specific. We have the floor tool here under architecture, and these are sketch based objects. So what you have is while walls are working in the vertical dimension, so you can specify the thickness of them. It's the same thing for the floors. You can specify the thickness, but you will sketch the outlines of them in plan view. So, for instance, if I wanted to draw a floor under this wall here, what I would do is under the context ribbon, I can use the boundary line, and I can start from this corner, go in this direction, go down, go left, and go up. And what I have now is a fully closed polyline that will describe the floor slab. For each floor object that you're creating, this this magenta line has to be fully closed. If you're having trouble viewing, it's because my poche is also magenta, so I'm going to change those back to normal. I'm going to turn off the shadows, and I'm going to, let's go to visibility and graphics and take off this guy. So maybe this one is black. Okay, now I have created a slab, and it's right here. It just comes in with a fill for now. We can change that later on. But if you switch to 3D view, the slab is basically created under the walls, right? That's my slab, this guy. And it's generic 12-inch floor. And we have some variations here as well, like metal decks, ones with wood finishes. And you can also customize the thickness of the floors, right? So just like how we were creating custom wall objects, you can select the floor, go to edit type, and you can, if you want to create a different height floor, you can duplicate this one. Let's say we want to create a really thick wall, thick floor. Let's say it's going to be 18 inches. Maybe there's already one for 18 inches, but I'm going to say generic 18 inches. Then I'll go to the structure here, edit it, and here I'm going to enter 18 inches as well. So it's the same type of interface that we looked at with walls, right? So if I wanted to have some finishes over the floor faces, I can basically insert them here, move them up, and change what they are, right? So there could be a membrane layer, structural layer, a finish layer. Like if this is a tiled floor, or maybe there's carpet, you can basically enter these sorts of information. So I can create a finish layer here, enter carpet material, and enter a thickness for it as well. And I can do the same thing underneath the floor too. So I can insert another layer that is going to be under here, and this one could be I'm not sure if you can, I don't think you can add the suspended ceiling directly here, but there could be a finish there too, like insulation or air gap, stuff like that. The floors can also be like, you can also put air gaps in them, but I don't think you will need to customize your floors as much. I'm just going to keep the structure, hit OK, and I will actually go back to the 12 and keep it the same. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and turn it into a duplex, so that we can also see how we can edit the sketches of the floors. So I'm going to go to my level, unit floor plans, and I'm going to right click to my floor plan and duplicate the view, and rename this one to be unit floor plans. Let's say, actually let's delete this one for now, and let's rename this guy to be unit floor plans first floor. And then if you go to the elevation, let's go to north elevation. These are the two levels I have for now. So I have level 1, where we have been drawing our walls and floors, and I have a level 2, where I can add a second level, and I can keep going basically, right? So this is that unit, and all these objects, all these walls have a top constraint that is associated to level 2. If I change the height of level 2, all those objects will be stretched along with it because they have their top constraint defined as level 2. And I can also control the floor heights here. So for instance, right now it's 10 feet 6 inches. I can enter here and say that I want my floor height to be 10 feet. So I can change that level. If I want to add another level, I can go to Architecture tab, Datum, level is here, and I can simply create another one here. I'm just going to drop this, and when you create a level, it already creates an associated floor plan with it, right? So there's level 3 created, there's level 1. If you want to access the floor plan drawing, you can double click, let me see, right click, there should be a shortcut. You can do go to floor plan, and it will take you to the corresponding view. Yeah. No, architecture level. Under datum, there's level. So I have my first floor plans that uses level 1. So I'm going to go to elevation again. Let's do north. I was looking at north elevation. Level 2. So I want to do level 3 the same height. So I can select level 3, change the dimension, active dimension here, or you can also create an annotation. Let's create a linear annotation. This aligned, and if this is the total height, I can equalize this, but you know what it's going to do? It's going to divide the total width into 2, right? So these are going to be 11 feet. What I want to do instead is maybe specify an overall height. So this guy may be, let's say 20, and then I can control basically the floor height locations as well. Now that I have this set up, I want to copy, make an instance of the same thing upstairs as well. So I'm going to go to my first floor plan, select everything that I have here. I'm going to go to my clipboard. There is no copy like Control C, Control V in Revit. You should never use that. It will just make things more complicated. You should always use the copy to clipboard option. So under modify, clipboard, copy objects you have selected to the clipboard. Then what you want to do is after those objects are selected, let me see. Modify clipboard, copy to clipboard, then go to clipboard, paste. I want to paste them aligned to selected levels, right? And where do I want to place them? I want to place them on level 2, right on top of where they are. So I will go to clipboard, paste, align to selected levels. I want to select level 2, hit OK. Now I'll get the same instance placed on level 2. And if I switch to 3D view now, there's a new floor added on top of the same thing. And I can do this operation multiple times, right? So I can create one floor with all the units I have, and then I can copy them to selected levels. So I can have like 5 levels, 6 levels, and I would have all of them like vertically stacked. It's a really fast operation. Yeah. Yeah, so let's create a balcony. So I'll go to level 1. So I'm going to select the floor slab. If I want to change the outline of this floor slab, I'll go to Mode Edit Boundary. And what you can do is when you're in Edit Boundary mode, the object will have its outlines or the boundary highlighted as in magenta, and all of these are flexible, right? So I can basically specify a 6-foot balcony there. So I can extend the floor slab. And once I'm happy with the modification, I can just hit check. Let me bring back my old setting. And you can do the same thing to create voids as well. So if I go to level 2 this time, actually let me rename this guy so they're kind of in par. Unit floor plans, second floor. Let's do yes. So this is my second floor plan. It's going to be, of course, different. We might not have these furniture, so I'm going to delete them. And if you notice something, there is a highlighted gray underneath my floor plan drawing, and that's basically the underlay. You can underlay different floors or drawings underneath other drawings. So right now, under my second floor, I have underlay set as level 1. If I turn this to be none, apply all those highlighted, all that gray stuff will go away. You need to use underlay when you're, for instance, tracing something that is on the level below. So you want to create a floor slab above it and control where you want to go. Or you want to align the walls or some objects on top of each other. For this one, what I want to do is, if you go to 3D view, maybe I want to keep this, I want to make this maybe the curtain wall taller, and I want to create a void here, right? How do I go about doing that? So if I go to level 2, I'm going to select the floor slab. Again, you can use the tab key to iterate through the objects. So if you're not able to select the floor slab, you can hit the tab key until that is highlighted, and then you can select it, and then you do edit boundary, and maybe I want this to be set back a bit. So let's say 10 feet or 12 feet. You can enter the dimension. Hit check. And it says, would you like walls that go up to this floor's level to attach to its bottom? You can say yes. And if I look in 3D, my floor is here, right? And technically what you could do is for the second floor, you can keep this offset inside the walls so that this detail is not visible like this. If you want to change this, you can add the slab here. You can keep it as a solid model basically. But the way I normally do it is to keep the floor slab inside the walls and have the walls go up to the floor level, right? And that one we could also do. I'm going to delete this floor, go to floor again. You can do that by using pick walls command. This is already a built-in function. So if you have already a room circumscribed by walls and you want to add a floor slab to it, you can do pick walls, and then you can select the wall objects that define the boundary of this room and the corresponding surfaces that will bound the floor slab will be added, and then you can hit check. It says, would you like walls to go up to this floor bottom, and you can say yes. Highlights the walls attached, and you can do attach targets. Let's go. Now I have a slab here. What I want to do is edit this one, right? So there's going to be edit boundary. You can set this back. Need to do detach targets in 3D. Now my unit looks like that. So I've created kind of a mezzanine above my floor, right? And I would probably delete this, or you can extend this curtain wall to go up to this level and do a custom subdivision again, as you may want. For this assignment, I haven't shown stairs yet, so just leave a space for stairs. You can add them later on, okay? Or you can just sketch it with model lines. So the model lines are here. If you go to architecture, model line, it's basically, you can use it for drafting, right? So you can draft something Say what? I can hear you. Okay. Alright, so that's kind of how you would go about creating a double unit. And if you have a custom opening, again, so let's say you want to edit the outline of this, you can go to edit boundary, and I can even create a hole in it. Maybe the opening is not here, but it's somewhere here. If I place in a rectangle inside the floor slab, that will create the void. Right? So this will be a void. Now, so again, anything that you can sketch, it will be taken in as the boundary of the floor. So I can make it any way I want. But the important part is it needs to be closed, polyline, so that the surfaces are defined, right? Okay, I'm going to undo that. Any questions about the floors for now? Yeah. Yes. Yes, good question. So if yours are curved, you can draft them using the arches or splines. There are different ways of drawing them, right? So if, let's say, it's coming in, going up, then you may want to put an arc here. So you can specify the center. There's probably a center you can grab, right? There may be a wall already. Or you can also use the pick walls command to extract that outline directly from the walls. Okay? Any other questions about floors? Okay, so let's look at roofs quick. You may need to model them, you may not need to model them, but it's nice to cover them as well. So I'm just going to, for the roofs, I'm just going to create a simple box and go over how roofs work. So I'm going to create one, let's say rectangle. Let's say 25, let's say something like this. This end I want it to be 30 feet. And this end I want it to be 30 feet as well. Just create a box to work with. Okay. I actually create a curtain wall. I'm going to select all of them and turn this to be generic 8 inches. Now this is my ground floor. For the roof of this structure, it will be placed on second floor, right? And normally you would rename it as the roof level. Like I can rename this as roof, but I'm just going to use it as a new level. And I'm going to place an underlay to use in this case because I don't see the walls that are below my view. So I'm going to do underlay, and I'm going to do level 1. And now I can see the walls that are below my viewport, right? And I'm working on the second floor. Now for this guy, I'm going to create a roof. I go to roof. And again, the roofs also work with walls, because technically we are covering up the top surface of the walls. And they have an overhang parameter as well, and a defined slope parameter. And we're going to look at what those two does. So the overhang is basically how much you want to extend from the wall face. So let's say we want to extend 2 feet from the wall face. I enter overhang, it's 2 feet. And I'm going to keep the pick walls command. And then I'm going to come in here, select the walls that I want to use for my roof definition. And this triangle is a symbol that shows me that those edges will define a slope. So all the surfaces that extend to those lines, they will be sloped. And this is actually done when I hit check. My roof will be created. And let's look at it in 3D. It looks something like this. And you can change the slope value. So let's say we want to have this will be actually more. Let's do 11/12. Let's do 6 over 12. There used to be a handle, but let me see if it's not dynamic for this one. There used to be a handle in 2014 version. Maybe they took it out. Bounding cutoff. Okay, that's fine. Let's create another one next to it. So I go to first floor. I'm going to make a copy next to it. Go to second floor. I can copy the same roof, but this time I'm going to create just another one to show you how you can go about creating roofs. I go to roof again, and let's say we don't have any overhang this time, and I want to select all these four faces, four walls, but what I want to do is select these two lines, select these two edges, and define them as non-defining the roof slope. Okay, so I go to edit footprint. I'm going to select this side and turn off defines roof slope option, so that triangle is taken out. I'm going to do the same thing here. Hit apply, and when I hit check, now I have a roof that goes on both sides. So if I go in 3D, my roof does this, and this one's flexible, so you can adjust the height. And if you want the walls to go all the way up to the roof, you will just select the walls that you think should go up to the roof, and under modify walls tab there's attach top base. You will select that and then define the face you want them to go to, and Revit will extend them automatically to the surface above them. Okay, I'll do the same here. Now let's create another one. I'm going to create another variation. Go here. Let's create another roof. So this time I'm going to take out define slope option, and I'm going to click on all four sides and hit check. Now there are also other ways of modifying the roof, which is basically modifying it through the sub-elements. Let's say we want to have something more expressive. I'm actually going to change first the positioning of these lines. So I'm going to change their alignment to the interior faces of the walls, and then hit check. And we have another modification option here, which is modify sub-elements. This will allow you to change the height values of the points that define the roof. So if I go here, modify sub-elements, I can select each of these individual points and give them an elevation, spot elevation. And this will create a new geometry for the roof. Sure. I was editing the roof slope using footprint and define slope option for each of the edges. So that's how roofs are constructed. So when I have a roof, I go to edit footprint. If I give this to be a define roof slope option, then it will create a pitch, right, a slope. But instead of doing that, what we could also do is use these points that define the roof geometry. And that's done through modify sub-elements command. And you can also add multiple points as well. So if I go here, add point, I can drop in some more control points. And then if I go in 3D, select my roof, and go to modify sub-elements, I can start giving these elevations, right? And Revit will calculate the roof geometry automatically using those. You can select edges if you want to give them heights, or you can select vertices to give them heights. Okay, and let's say this is a parapet wall. So in this case, we want to keep the top offset, the top constraint, but maybe we want to keep top offset. So let's say we want to have 2 more feet going above that, so this could be a parapet wall as well, and there's a roof above it. Alright? The last way of controlling the roof slope is through the slope arrows. So I'm going to create a copy of this one again. Go to the second floor and select the roof option. Pick walls again. Define slope is turned off. So I'm going to choose the 4 sides. And after I do that, I'm going to choose slope arrow. And the slope arrow is an object itself as well. And depends on how you place it, you'll be constructing a slope for the roof. So for instance, if I create, let's say go to slope arrow, let's say I want to create one here, and then I want to create another one that comes and meets it in the middle, and hit check. Now my roof will be sloped from those 2 sides like that. So it defines on the direction of the slope as well as the heights. Right, so if you select the roof, edit footprint, these are roof specific objects, and when you select them, you can control the offset values or height values as well. Height offset at head, let's say it's 8 feet. Hit apply. I'm going to do the same thing actually to both of them, 8 feet. That will change the height of my roof. This tool is normally used to create gable roofs. So let's create one quickly. I'm going to create one more variation.
Why is the roof not selected when you copy?
Because it's a plan specific modification, right? So if I want to copy it with the roof, I can do that in 3D. So that I can select both of them in 3D and copy them over there. But I'm just copying the walls and come up with a new roof. So I'm going to go to roof again. Second floor. Oh, it actually already copied. Let's see. I guess these objects were intersecting as well. So I'm going to delete this. Second floor, roof, architecture roof. Pick lines. I'm going to pick these edges. Hit check. Now, what I want to do is have these 4 sides sloped, but then have a gable here. Right, so there's kind of an opening, and to create that we need to sketch some divisions there, or we need to divide that wall into segments. So let me see if there's actually a divide tool. I don't think there is. So if not, we can just I guess divide them in the middle. So let's select the roof. Edit footprint. I want all these 4 lines to define slope. So I hit check to that. And then I come in here, and what I want to do is divide this line into 4 segments. Right, so I'm going to move it here, and then move it again to the middle. Actually, you can also sketch it. I have 15 feet here, and then I can come in here, let's say 6 feet. Let's delete this one. Let's sketch it. This one as well, I want it to be 6 feet in. And these 2 are going to define the slope, but these 2 will not. They will be using a slope arrow instead. So I'm going to create another line here, and what I would do is use a slope arrow and define a slope arrow in this direction there. So it's kind of a local operation. And then I do that, I check, I get a gable there. So I get something like that. because from this point to the midpoint there's a slope, and same way in the other way. But in order to get this surface on the side of the roof, I need to have this edge define slope as well, right? And what I'm going to do is select all the walls and do attach top base and select the roof, and all the wall faces will be adjusted according to it. You can also, let me see if you can add, I don't think you can add the overhang. What we could do is select the roof, edit footprint. You can stretch these, right? So you can create your overhang manually if you want. Okay. MV. Let's make this go 2 feet below as well. Hit check. What's happening? Unjoin elements, delete roofs. Why wasn't it able to do it? So there's a problem there. The other roof option is to do roof by faces, and let's look at that quickly. I'm going to go to the elevation of the last one I created, so maybe there's another roof here. And if you go to roof again, roof, I'm going to do roof by extrusion. And this is a face specific object, so you need to define the plane you're working on. And I'm going to, if it's not already specified, the work plane, you can just do pick a plane, and then you can pick the plane you want to draw the roof at. So it's going to be this face. So I select that one, and it says roof reference level and offset. So I want it to be placed on the second floor. I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm in sketch mode. So what I could do is I could create another outline here, and I'm going to do that by using pick lines and creating an offset, let's say 3 feet. I can come in here, use the existing roof outline to come up with an offset, and a single line is all you need actually. Then the roof will be created with an offset value. It's actually going in the wrong direction. What I want to do is extrusion, and I want it to be, let's say, 5 feet. Hit apply, and you can create an additional roof geometry like that as well. Okay? Huh? So each of these arrows next to the tools that we're using, there are sub options to create those elements. For the roof, there's roof by extrusion. Okay? So I'm going to keep this up for a bit, try to create some different roofs, play around with that tool, and then we're going to look at grids, columns, and sheets. Okay? Use this full navigation wheel tool, which is a pretty good tool. So I'm going to first select this guy, and then go to isolate element, so everything else is hidden in the view. And then you can bring in let me see, is this 3D? This is 3D. Okay, so when you click here, this is the full navigation wheel, and it comes in like a smart object following your cursor, and it has all the built-in navigation tools on it, right? So if you want to orbit around, you can do orbit. If you want to pan, you can pan. If you want to lock the view here, you can do center, and then I can do orbit around that center, right? So it's basically, it creates kind of a focal point and then helps you to orbit around that point. There is also look, which is kind of similar. There is zoom in. So you would basically hit the function you want to use, and while holding that function, execute it, right? So if I want to zoom, I hit zoom, and then holding the mouse button, I can zoom in. Pen is the same way. Orbit is the same way. I think rewind basically goes back and forth of the actions you have done for the navigation. And center kind of is a zoom to fit or zoom to selected region option. Okay, so you can use this one. So what I'm going to do next is to create a grid, create some copies of my units, and then make multiple stacks of it, and then create a column grid underneath it. Okay? So let's go to first floor. So I'm going to select this guy, type in CO for copy. I'm going to move it here, and then I'm going to create, let me show you some new stuff. So I'm going to create a grid. Let's come up with our grids. Let's say there's a grid here. This wall is, let's say there's a grid here. The next one I'm going to do is offset this. So I'm using the grid tool, architecture, datum grid, modify. I'm going to select the grid, and then no, let's go to architecture again, grid, and I'm going to do pick lines. And actually, let me specify the dimension we want to use. Annotate aligned from here to here. If you don't want to see the wall thicknesses, you can go to view and switch on to thin lines option. It will take out the line weights when you're modeling something, so you can do smart snapping, right? So because when you don't have the thin lines, sometimes when you're snapping furniture, you may not get the wall line correctly, and if you want to see them before you print, you can do thin lines so that everything is drawn with single lines. The next thing I wanted to do is create the grid. So let's make a copy of this here. Okay, and let's look at the annotation. Let's look at this dimension. I have 16:8, which is fine. I'm going to select one of these grids to create similar pick lines, and I'm going to create 16 feet 8 inches, and I'm going to create some more grid lines. I'm actually clicking on the wrong location. Let me do it again. On this side, this side. So let's say something like this. Now what I want to do is to copy the vertical walls, right? So let's create an array for that. I'm going to select this wall and then copy its instances along these grids. So I'm going to select one and then go to the array tool, creates a linear or radial array of selected elements, and then I'm going to enter the dimensions. So I'm going to specify from this axis to this axis, and then it will prompt me to enter the number of copies I want to create. So I want to do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to type in 8. So I get 8 copies of that wall. Alright? Now the next thing I'm going to do, let's say this is my structural system and this is my unit system. I'm going to select everything that is inside my unit and take out the floor slab. So I'm going to use Shift to take out from the selection. These are the elements I want to use, and I'm going to create them as a group. so that we can copy them throughout the base that we have just created. So I go to modify, create, and I'm going to do create group, and I'm going to rename this as my unit. Let's say this is unit 1. Hit OK. Now this is created as a group. Now I can do the same array copy to this. So I can go to array from here to here, and I want to have 2, 4, 6, 8. And all my units are basically created. Now you wouldn't do the same thing for the floor slab. Why? Because the floor slab needs to be one continuous element, right? So that's why I separated them from each other. So I can select the floor slab now, go to edit boundary, and I can stretch my floor slab to go to that wall, and I can also lock it there so that there's a relationship established. Hit check. I can also maybe add some corridor space in the back. I can do the same thing by mirroring the whole thing, right? So I can select these guys now and go to mirror, draw axis, and I can draw an axis at 4 feet. And it will basically mirror the thing to the other side. And I can extend my floor slab there as well. So I'm just going to keep it flush for now. And lock this relationship too. And let's see what we have done in 3D. So that's what I have. Job done. Right? So why did I do the groups before I made the copies? Because if there's a modification I wanted to do to the furniture layout of the room, or to the wall configuration, or anything I want to change, you don't want to do this operation afterwards, right? You want those smart objects to be cross-referenced and copied so that when I edit one group, all of the instances would benefit from that modification as well. So they will get whatever is added to the group. So if I go back to my floor, let's say I want to add a table there or some other furniture, I can select this group, go to edit group, and I can select add to group. And what I want to add is, let's say, another component. And let's say I want to add a desk, right? I want to add the desk here. And, you can reposition it. Let's say it's going to be here. I'm going to make a copy of it next to it. This yellow background is when you're in group modification. I'm just adding another object just to show you. Because the point is when I do finish, it's going to apply the same modification to all the units, right? So in case you wanted to change something, that will take effect. Now you can also do the same thing by going to edit group and removing objects. So I can remove this bed from it. Actually, that won't take it out. That will just take it out from that group. What you want to do is delete it. And you can take out stuff as well. It's the same thing for editing walls, doors. I can edit the position of this door. I can change the rotation of this object. So let me show you quickly how we can do rotation. When you are in rotate command, you use center of rotation and align for the rotation information. You can reposition the center of rotation by clicking on it and putting it anywhere you want. And for rotation, you click on anywhere on this line and then you can enter the value. So 90 degrees. And rotate is under modify, rotate, or RO are the shortcuts. And then I'm going to move this guy here. And if I do finish, that modification will be applied to all the group instances, right? So this will, so I would recommend you to create groups of the units you're creating. Yeah. Yes, it removes it from the group, but it will keep the instances because I've already copied them, right? If I have removed that bed and then made a copy of that group, the new copy wouldn't get the removed bed. So that just defines a new group basically. Just doesn't delete the object. Okay, so this is basically my floor, and then I can do the vertical copies as well, right? So let's say we want to have a few levels of this. First off, let me extend the axis lines. So I'm going to create a model line and do trim extend multiple elements. So I'm going to select this line here. We can extend this. This has to be manual. Oh, they actually come all together. So you can extend the axis lines. Then what I want to do is select everything I have on this floor, put them on my clipboard, copy to clipboard. Now before I paste them to corresponding levels, I can go to my elevation and create more levels here. So let's say I select this level, create another one, create another one, and create another one. Now, since I copied this level, these didn't come in with their own corresponding viewports, so that's why they're black. If a level is highlighted with blue, that means it's connected to a level drawing. But if it's black, it's not. And if you want to create those levels, you need to go to View, Plan Views, Floor Plan, and Revit automatically prompts you to existing levels that are not associated to any floors, and it asks you if you want to create one of these, and you can select all of them and hit OK, and those levels will be added to your levels. Now I come back here, select this level, and what I want to do is copy it to clipboard, paste, align to selected levels, and I want to select 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Hit OK. This will take some time because it's doing a lot of copying. But I'm basically creating stacks of the levels I just created, right? Alright, so if I go to 3D, my levels are stacked. So I have multiple levels of the same thing, and with all corresponding furniture. Now, some of the heights are not working for the new levels, so I need to fix that. So I go to my elevation. Let's do south elevation. I have this other stuff as well. Let me delete those. So I go to 3D. Or what you could do is select this guy. Go to the elevation you want. Was it south? And you want to isolate that, right? So I go to temporary hide isolate, isolate element, so it will hide everything else. Oh, but I lost the, let me see. Let me show you something, some other tool. So I isolated the model, but I lost the level lines, and if I want to bring the level lines, I can toggle to the hidden elements in this view by going to the reveal hidden elements next to temporary hide isolate. So when you click that, the cyan is becoming magenta and the the objects in cyan are basically the hidden elements in this view. And if you want to bring any of them, you can select any one of them and then right click to it and then go to unhide in view. So you can, for instance, select all these levels and unhide in view. Oh wait, it won't work with this one. It will. Let me do isolate. Let me just hide these. Hide in view by elements. Let's do hide in view by elements as well. I mean, I can just go ahead and delete them. But let me see if there's something wrong with the level I've created. I think the heights are not corresponding. Yeah.
Each time you create a level, automatically do 12 feet.
No, you can change the heights. You can change the heights. I'm just adjusting the level lines. So what you want to do is to create an annotation here, aligned annotation. So you want to create an annotation here between the levels, and you can see that they're not equal, right? We want all of them to be 10. So since I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, I want this to be a specific dimension. So this is going to be 50, right? My floor height is going to be, my total level height is going to be 50. Let's see, if I select this guy, why is this dimension not set? Let's move this 8 feet down. I mean, if I hit equalize, it won't work, so we want to set this level to be in the correct height. But I guess I can go about adjusting these levels as well. It's gonna take some time, and it's giving me already some errors. So let me go back and maybe delete some of these levels and then do the vertical copy again. Meanwhile, you can do the same thing. Okay, just create a group, create horizontal copies of your unit floor plan, and then stack them up. Let's delete these. Let me fix the levels. I'm going to delete the roofs as well. So in the tutorial for tomorrow, it shows you how you can import a Revit model into another file. So what you could do is design your units in one file and then bring them in as linked to a separate file where you can create your building, right? So it's similar to creating groups. So basically each unit will be read through one file where the units will be modeled, and then they could be reused as linked files in another file. And once you update that unit model, your unit modules will be updated in the master file as well. So you can do it that way too. Or you can go about, creating them here and placing them, organizing them in your model. Now let's fix this guy. Okay, it doesn't. It didn't prompt me to enter this dimension before. But what I want to do is equalize these. So the top level group instance of the same type do not contain identical members. Let's do fixed groups. Ungrouped consistent groups. Let's see if that's going to fix the issue. There was an issue with the group there. I guess it's fixed now. What could be the issue? Oh, these don't go all the way to the second floor actually. This is compressed for some reason. Let me delete that too and make another copy. So let's delete this guy, go to first floor plan. So this is the advantage of the underlay. So if I'm on level 2 and I want to see what's below it, right? If you want to create a different floor slab, you can basically create the underlay under properties of the floor plan drawing. So I can underlay level 1 under this drawing, and you can use now the geometry below your view to create anything above it, right? So you can modify, for instance, if I'm creating the floor slab for this level and I want to create a specific opening, I can use this geometry, right? So I can start with the overall boundary. I'm going to say no, edit boundary, and let's say you want to create openings inside of this. You cannot have overlapping lines, so you can do like this, for instance. Right, so I can snap to something below my viewport basically. That would be the opening. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Because they're copied through the group, right? You want to do the furniture layout through that, so you know like which units you're copying and where you're placing them, so that you can update the furniture of them. What I want to do is let's finish the vertical array, align to selected levels, level 2 to level 6. Hit OK. Basically, you'll get feedback from me about your units this week, and I'll try to do that by Friday. And I'm actually going to be really busy, but let's see if I can get it done. Then for next week, say what? Use the tab key to iterate through the elements until you see that highlighted, and then you can select that. I'll change this to be open now, 10 a.m. And basically, what you're going to do for next Monday is come up with a preliminary massing for your building, using the units you developed from the previous assignment. So you're going to create a sample floor plan and create vertical copies of it, and the massing should be placed on pilotis. Okay, everybody knows unité d'habitation? Okay, architecture 101, right? So the reason why I'm giving you these constraints is because you'll be able to change them afterwards. I just want to get a nice proportioned massing with some program inside of it. Then you can work on detailing it, mixing up units, adjusting units, facade elements, adding stairs, circulation, maybe gallery spaces, maybe taking out one floor and making it something else, right? You can do that. But you gotta have the massing to begin with first. You gotta get a nice proportioned building. The next part of the assignment is for you to choose a site for your project. And since we are doing a workshop for 5 weeks, and this is not a studio, I'm not going to give you a specific site. I'm not going to be too nitty about it. I'm not going to ask you to do site analysis or anything like that. If you want to use an existing site where you want to model your building so that you may want to include in your project, you're more than welcome to do that. Otherwise, you can create a site from scratch. You can say, like, I want sea, maybe it's by the sea, maybe there are buildings around it, and maybe it's this big, the plot is this big, maybe there's a park on the side and there's a road on the side. You can create it from scratch. And I need it to be at least 1,000 by 1,000 square feet. And I need it to be there needs to be some slope on it so that it's a bit challenge for you to come up with kind of relationship between the building massing and the site. Okay? But for this exercise, all you're going to do is model the whole site and integrate your building model into it using the building pad. And that will be covered in tomorrow's tutorial. It's really simple. Okay? So it's just to give you stuff that you can keep modifying for the next 4 weeks. And for this assignment, you're required to do use basically everything you have learned this week. Walls, doors, windows, curtain wall systems, groups, furniture, arrays, grids, columns, right? I'm not going to ask for anything more than that. You can also use annotations if you want to. If you want to show me the dimensions of your units, which is actually pretty nice. Like if you're going to put up drawings of your units, you may want to put some dimensions as well to show the overall axis width or the overall sizes of the units. And for the block, I wanted you to create an aggregation over the floor plans, multiple levels, a grid of columns to separate the structure from the topo, a building pad to establish a datum for the building with the topo, and all of these are really like 5 to 10 minute things. Like they're not like I listed them as like assignment requirements, but they're really fast. And by the time you get to do them, you'll be able to change them afterwards as well. Detailed site model with roads and buildings, custom wall for exterior walls, curtain walls, and roof is optional, right? You may not want to have a roof at this stage. And I want you to upload your Revit file and information about your site program choice. So if you want to do it on a specific site, you may want to send me a Google Earth image of your site location and maybe have a write-up. Like say I want to do a project here. It's a nice site. Maybe it's a site you have worked with before. You may want to revisit it. Okay? So this is for next Monday. Any questions about the assignment? This one? Is it too much? Huh? Due next Monday. But you guys saw how much it took me to create the massing, right? It takes 5 minutes to make vertical copies once you have a floor plan. The trick is to get the units. No, not this, but something like with this much detail, right? Windows, units, columns, site, topo. Huh? It's going to be tomorrow's tutorial. That's already uploaded. Huh? No, I'm going to cover them right now. I'm just like going over them because we are discussing the building. Okay? Columns are really simple too. I'm just going to use the axis lines and then place columns where I want the pilotee to be. So first things first, let's look at columns. So I'm going to actually delete the units I have on my ground floor. And instead what I want to do is use, I'm on the first floor, I'm going to use the underlay as my second floor so that I see the units above my drawing. And then I'm going to come up with columns. So I go to column tool. Actually, let's create another grid line here. So let's create horizontal grid lines as well. maybe these columns are set back. So let's say 4 inches, and then I'm going to create another axis here, another axis here, and modify mirror draw axis. Let's do that one. Okay, and let's select this guy, copy, let's say 10 feet off, and I'm going to do another mirror axis, select the column, select the grid line, draw axis, so I got the horizontal grid lines as well. And then I'm going to go to architecture column, and we already have some built-in columns, but just a few. Again, you may want to bring them by loading the family. Go to load family, structural columns, concrete. We have the rectangular, this guy. We have the circular one, square one. Let's bring in these guys. Right, so this is my rectangular column. It's a bit wider than the wall I have, but let's say we want to use maybe the circular ones. Concrete, round. There are some variations to it, but let me see. So this guy, architecture column, moves with grids. Edit type. There is a width to it, but it's 18 inch. I mean, the diameter is 18 inches. I'm not sure how small you can go about it. Let's keep it at that. Vertical column. At grids. Huh? Well, yeah. So I haven't actually tried. Oh, that's pretty handy. So you can actually place them automatically using the grid lines. So if you go to first floor, column, if you do multiple, add grids, and select all the grids, finish. The elements are not visible, so I have to bring them to the floor, but this row I don't need. This row I don't need. I'm going to put these guys, turn off the base offset to be 0, and top level to be second floor, and this is at 0, so they go from ground to the first floor, right? And if you don't want them to go into the slab, you need to create a top offset, which could be -1 foot. So they go up to, because the level line is above the floor slab face, right? So you don't want the column to go all the way up there, you want it to stop at 1 foot, so that we can place columns. Okay? These are again like as placeholders. Later on we can create our own columns, we can replace these, create our own custom objects. But for now, create kind of floor slabs and a ground relationship, and again you can also add a floor slab there for now, so you can create floor and add a slab there if you want, just to see it on something, right? These columns could be 2 stories high, maybe some of these are, like I'm just leaving it up to you, but the way I went. I'm not going to ask for parking. I don't think you have to create parking. I just want to get space here, because I'm going to like there are going to be assignments where I'm going to ask you to model stuff there too. Okay, where we do custom furnitures, custom objects, and I'm going to ask you to do maybe a shop there or a cafeteria or something else.
Yeah, each assignment has like 2 additional.
Yep. So we're going to keep adding detail to this building. Okay. But the columns are pretty straightforward. I imported some of them. Go to Insert, Load Family. Under Structural Columns, Concrete. I added some of these, and I used a round column for this one. And the way you can go about placing it is you can put them individually, or you can do Add Grids and select all the grid lines, and it will find the intersections and sample a column there. And then afterwards, what you want to do is select the columns and then change the top level constraints and the base level constraints, and also give them offsets, right? I created the top offset as -1, so that it goes to the bottom face of the floor slab. Alright. Now, let's look at sheets quickly. For this view, I'm going to take out the underlay. None apply. Now, all your assignments will be drafted on 11 by 17 sheets. To create a sheet, on the project browser, go to Sheets, right-click, New Sheet. If there are no title blocks here for 11 by 17, you can do Load, go all the way down, Title Blocks. There's a built-in 11 by 17 title block. Hit Open, and choose this one. Hit OK. Now, you can enter information here or modify the title block. You can basically select the title block, go to Edit Family. I haven't gone through families yet, but this is a two-dimensional object and you should be able to figure it out. It's basically made out of lines and text placeholders, right? So you can delete all this redundant information and keep the frame. So let's say I want to delete these. Again, it's an 11 by 17 title block sheet, but we're not going to do detailed drafting. So I can do Save As, Family, and I could have actually saved it in place as well. So I can do 11 by 17 title, custom, and then I'm going to do Load into Project, and then close it. Now when I go to Sheets, this is the one I had created. Let's create a new one, and I have title custom. Hit OK. Now I have kind of a new title sheet, and I can place drawings here. And placing them is really easy. You can just go to your unit floor plans, click and drag and drop it there, and it will bring in a viewport containing that drawing. And then what you want to do is go to Active View. Let me see. Go to the view and select Crop View. Wait, let me see. Here. Go to the sheet, which is here. So I want to crop the area I want to use on this viewport, right? So the viewport brings in everything that is drawn on that floor plan drawing. And what you can do is select the floor plan that is linked to it, highlight the floor plan that is linked to it, and go all the way down to the floor plan settings, and then do Crop View and Crop Region Visible. Hit Apply. This will bring in this. Let me see. There's some annotation crop. And this will bring in these controls where you can filter out information. So if I want to just use this part of this drawing, I can just move these in. If you go to the properties of the view, all the way down, I'm just enabling these extents: crop view, crop region visible, annotation crop. And then after you do that, basically now your view is cropped, right? So I can now place this on my sheet. Sorry, let's do MV. Say what? You're basically not seeing the whole plan drawing, you're just seeing a limited portion of it, right? That's the part you want to draft. So you're referring to the floor plan, but you're filtering out stuff that you don't want to see. So this is basically what those regions do. So if I extend these, I would include more information that may be in that file, right? So your floor units may be drawn side by side, so you may want to like keep all of them together. I'm trying to move this back in place. So let's take these out. No, I don't want to take them out. Apply. I'm trying to remember, because when I do that, it moves the crop view. No. Okay, I guess I have to place the plan and then crop it. I think I'm doing it in the wrong order. So let's try to do it that way. So I want to do what's going on? So I can do it this way. You can place this thing on the title sheet and then crop it basically. And if I want to bring in another one, I can bring another instance. Let's try dropping in another view. Sheet, no edit type. I'm trying to remember if I'm missing a step somewhere. This is correct. Your range is correct. This is all correct. This makes it active. That's correct. Okay. Now, if I want to make another one, I can duplicate it here. No, that's not what I want to do. I could do no. I'm getting more confused now. Anyway, let's say we placed our drawing. What you are going to do is basically, once this is created, go to print, and you're going to select Adobe PDF, and you're going to choose selected views sheets. If you have multiple sheets, you'll print them as the same PDF file from here. You you go to select, and then the sheet I created, 102, would be here. That's what I'm going to choose. So if you have multiple sheets, let's say plans, sections, elevations, you'll select all of them here. Hit OK. Let's rename it as set 1. Then I want to go to the settings. I want to select the size, which is going to be 11 by 17. I want to fit the page. Landscape is fine. This is all fine. Hit OK. Let's see if there's a preview somewhere. It's going to be the create separate files or combine files. If you have selected multiples, you can combine them. Create separate. I'm going to keep combine multiple selected files, and for the location, I'm going to choose my desktop. Save it there. Hit OK. Close. Save. After it saves the PDF, it just opens it up. But this is actually not zoomed to fit. Let me see it again. Print setup. Where's the preview? Print preview. This is. Let's go to setup again. Fit the page. Zoom 100%. And let's do print setup. Yeah, this one. When you do 100%, it lines up with the sheet. And then you can do print. Hit OK. Oh, this is already open. Let's close this. Yeah, so you want the border to be flush with the sheet, right? So that it's in the right scale. So this is 11 by 17. You don't want to leave any gaps, so I did fit to zoom to view 100%. That's the advantage of using title blocks, because the title blocks shows you the region of the sheet, and any drawing you can bring on it, you can see how much space it's going to occupy, and you can place elements there as well. And the other thing we could do is add text. Let me see where we add those. Annotate. You can add text under your file. So you can do unit floor plan, plan 1. Right. You can scale it, change line weight, change the text height. These are also type objects, so you can specify the text size, tab size, the font. You can use multiple fonts, but I just want to see 3 floor plans there. Okay, it's just one. 11 by 17 should be okay. And you can keep the drawing at drawing scale at 1/8 inches equals 1 foot, which is basically what we specified. Or you can change the scale of your drawings here too. Let's try another one. This one is larger now. It moves it now. I don't know why it didn't work before, but now I can manipulate it. And I'm going to move it here. So you can change the scale of the drawings. This is kind of the nice thing about Revit, because you just model something and you can create multiple drawings at different scales of the same model, and it will filter the information, adjust the line weights accordingly. So you can find a scale where your unit kind of occupies a nice area on the sheet, and in this case 3/16 inches equals 1 foot worked fine for me. Okay? I may upload one more tutorial about these sheets and the view of crops, and like a small, probably YouTube video I'll upload as a link for you to watch. so that you can you can get more information about these, like how to control them.